this worthiness, this way of life. The world will challenge that part of you in order to see if you will persist enough in affirming this way of being, in staying controlled within your state of being, to say that in the face of it all, I am worthy. Hello, beautiful conscious creators. I hope that you have started your day. Ooh, my voice is a bit shaky today. Hello, beautiful conscious creators. I hope that you have started your day with nothing short of health, wealth, peace, love, and light as we explore healing and conscious creation together in this space. I hope that you my tongue got a bit twisted there. I hope that you remember to be kind and patient with yourself and your thoughts. So I had an interaction today with an acquaintance / someone that's becoming a new friend that reminded me of the old self-concept that I used to exist in, the old version of myself, of a part of me that used to believe that used to look at life through completely different eyes. I mean, I've always been optimistic. I've always had a good view on life, but there are certain parts of myself that needed to change, that needed to rewrite a story about the sense of worthiness that I have in the world, the sense of letting go of guilt and shame and other things surrounding a way of feeling worthiness in the world without feeling that guilt and shame, right? And it just reminded me of how when we try to affirm new things about ourselves, when we try to instill new beliefs about ourselves, in the moment that we are trying to instill those new beliefs, those new ideologies, those new affirmations, those repeating those new affirmations, our minds will remind us, or will uproot and reflect back to us the parts of our lives that we didn't in fact feel worthy, or a certain affirmation that we are trying to believe, and will show us, these memories will show us the exact opposite of what we are trying to believe about ourselves. And that's because when we affirm new things, when we are trying to affirm love, when we're trying to affirm worthiness, again, I'm gonna persist in the idea of worthiness, when we're trying to instill these things, we are reflecting when the opposite comes to light. It's reflecting the parts of us, it's reflecting the memories in us that didn't in fact feel worthy. So our energy and our focus has always been and has been persisting in moments that we didn't feel worthy. And so we are by challenging this new belief, by challenging this old belief that we have always had within ourselves. By challenging it, it will uproot memories that will contradict, that will try to show us the opposite of what the newness that we are trying to believe. Because it's almost like the ego protecting who we are. So what happens with the ego is that the ego will try to protect what it knows, right? If worthiness is not something that you have known within yourself, and you have persisted in a way of feeling unworthy, by moving into a space and affirming worthiness, you are really conflicting what you have always known about yourself, and it will scare and frighten your body because it's not something that it knows. It's an unknown feeling inside of your body. It's an unknown way of being. So the world will start reflecting parts of you that don't feel worthy to remind you of this unworthiness, because the energy that you have lived in has always been reflected in parts of you that haven't always felt worthy. But when you persist and hold on to this new belief that in fact you are worthy, you are in fact deserving of the things that you desire, then your energy will shift. And when your energy starts to shift into spaces of worthiness, then, only then, your memory or your mind will remind you of parts of you that do feel worthy. You will start to see the affirmation that you're trying to believe in. So the world is always reflecting what we believe about ourselves, right? And so when we try to instill new beliefs, it will take us back to the old things, because that is our normal, that is our natural. And so we need to persist. We need to persist in the worthiness, in the feeling of worthiness, because before we become that way of being, before we become the idea of worthiness, we will be reminded of the things that did not feel worthy, the things that we have always needed to forgive within ourselves in order to feel worthy, the things we have needed to let go of in order to feel worthy. And the world will keep reminding us of our old state of being before we step into the world of our worthiness. And the reason why the world takes a bit of time to catch up into this new way of looking, of our new way of looking at the world is like, for example, if you are an optimistic person in general, right? If you have an optimistic way of looking at life and you have a bad day, you wouldn't want that bad day to persist into weeks, months, years. You just want that bad day to live in that bad day and just be the bad day or the bad moment that it is, and allow that bad day or moment to bring about something that is beautiful at the end, because you have an optimistic way of viewing life. You would want that to unfold in such a way that it is in your favor, right? So it would be you looking at the world in such a way that is allowing things that are bad to unfold in your favor, and in that sense you are bouncing back to a natural state of way that the life is reflecting optimistic, or opportunities that allow you to look at the world in an optimistic way. You are bouncing back into a natural state of being from this what we would call like a negative moment or a challenging moment. Because you have always persisted in optimism, you bounce back into optimism. So if you have a new belief that you want to instill in yourself.
Take two.
So my battery died. Now I am not 100% sure how far I got, but I will say this. The point behind this episode is that when you try to instill new beliefs about yourself, before you come into believing, or before you walk into this belief of actually having this thing instilled within yourself, the world will challenge you first. Your reality will challenge you first. It will reflect the polar opposite of what you were trying to believe, because it wants to make sure that this way of life is truly something that you desire to be your new way of being. And once this new way of being becomes a natural part of you, once it becomes something that you truly can walk in without being triggered if something or someone says the exact opposite of what you're trying to affirm, if someone were to approach you in a way that challenges this belief and you have no emotional reaction to it, where I would say you're being tested in a sense. You're being tested to see if you truly want to believe in something, if you truly will persist in an ideology, in a way of life, in a certain belief about the world that you exist in, about your reality. When you are being tested and you really have no emotional reaction to the opposite, to the old self concept, when you don't feel triggered, and you can walk firmly in this new affirmation of, again, I will say, if we are trying to affirm worthiness, when you can walk firmly in this worthiness that regardless, in the face of it all, in all of the obstacles that I face and all of the challenges that I have to overcome or will overcome, because this world is so full of challenges that we need to overcome. If you want to become a certain type of person, if you want to adopt a certain kind of strength, first you have to go through a challenge that will test you to see if you can embody that kind of strength. You know, if I don't know if that makes sense, but in order to walk in a certain strength, the world, your reality, will challenge that strength that you want, that you truly want to walk into, to see if that you can embody the strength that you desire, the courage that you want, that you want to instill in yourself, the discipline that you want to instill in yourself, the focus, this worthiness, this way of life. The world will challenge that part of you in order to see if you will persist enough in affirming this way of being, in staying controlled within your state of being, to say that in the face of it all, I am worthy. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. I know my battery died, so maybe the end bit of this episode sort of took a bit of a different turn, you know, but that's okay. It's still a continuation of what I wanted to share. And yeah, I hope you join me for the next episode. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. My name is Obagang, and I am your accidental therapist.